listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking to my ball. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How you doing today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Wednesday, July the 16th. I'm your host, Mike Oliva, joined by, these two guys, Seth and OJ from the Fish Tank. Guys, how you doing tonight?
What's better than this?
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Mike. We're just we're blessed, man. Blessed to be on with you, man. And it's a beautiful, beautiful day, my man.
Absolutely, it is. And just up front, right off the bat, Ian Berger was supposed to be with us tonight. He joins us every Wednesday. He's having some health issues and got some news today. Ian, we're thinking about you. We love you. Get well soon. Keep fighting. But that's why he was unable to join us tonight. Just wanted to let everyone know. I know most people probably saw the news he put out on social media today, so it's understandable. And don't worry about this. Just get better soon.
Absolutely.
Let's get some of the business out of the way first. First off, if you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor, smash that like button right now. Get it out of the way, top of the show, smash the like button. Also, shout out to the sponsor of today's show, Caneswear. Everyone go to caneswear.com for the best and most affordable Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. If you live in South Florida, stop by their shop at 2655 South University Drive in Davie. Caneswear's got all the best apparel for the Dolphins, most affordable hats, jerseys, shirts, shorts, something for the home, something for the car. They got it. They also have stuff for your Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, the Miami Hurricanes, the Heat, and the Marlins as well. Check out caneswear.com. All right. You guys got some news. They've been in the news the past few weeks about your podcast. Some changes going on. Seth, why don't you tell everyone what's going on? Phase 4. I guess this is now being called Phase 4. Tell people what Phase 4 is and what they can expect.
Yeah, well, first of all, I tried to call it Phase 3, and Juice corrected me right away. He said that there's been 4. He, I guess, it's a game of inches, and all that nuance was important. But, we haven't been doing this as long as you have, but started in 2018, so you start to realize that if you stay the same, you're probably going to be extinct and get worse at the very least. And we don't want to be any of those things. So we wanted to evolve. That's kind of how Phase 4 was born. So still going to be the Fish Tank, still going to have our interviews. We've had a couple of those already with Raheem and Jakeem. We did not intentionally pick two guys with but had a lot of fun with those guys. But there's other things we want to do. There's guests that we want to get to, whether they play for the Dolphins or didn't play for the Dolphins.
Right.
We want to continue to be creative. We just dropped the Big Seth's Big Adventures, the first episode of that, which, again, it's all under the Fish Tank umbrella. But Juice and Preach and some of the guys were telling me that I've been holding back. I've been holding out, and there's stories that I haven't told. I just try to roll my stories out when they make sense, depending on who the guest is. But, a story like Jimmy Johnson giving me a watch, that's just something that never come up before. So we got these micro episodes, and that won't be the only micro episode style that we have. And we might even dip our toe into this thing that you do with these live live streaming episodes. So it's just the next evolution of something that we really love, that we enjoy doing. That is, if we start counting phases of our friendship, Juice, I don't know, it's like phase 81 or something.
Right.
But for the Fish Tank, it's the next thing, and we're having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, and also, Mike, we'll be talking more current Dolphins this year than we ever have. We usually try to stay out of that realm a lot of times and out of that sphere. But we've always, because we were doing the pre and post game show, we've got a lot of opinions on some of the things that are going on with the team. We still love the team, obviously, even though we're not with the team anymore. So we'll be doing some more current stuff as well and talking about something during the week. We might come on anytime during the week with something because it's on Seth's mind or on my mind, and that's how we'll roll.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you talk about the stuff that's happening now in the moment, especially in season, when you had a game on Sunday and then you have the next one about to come up, there's always something to talk about. And sometimes the stuff's fun, sometimes it's not, but there's always something to talk about that'll keep people interested and captivated. And let's be honest, Seth, you probably got a million great stories. You're probably sitting on a gold mine of stories. You worked there long enough. You know stuff, probably some you can't tell. But even the ones you can tell, I'm sure are going to be very interesting.
Well, they're just fun. I mean, there's things that I always say this. Look, nobody's going to understand what it's like to be OJ McDuffie and to have to catch a Dan Marino pass over the middle and know that you're going to get smacked by a 200-pound safety, but you still got to hold on to the ball so you could spin it and get 70,000 people going crazy. Like, we can't relate to that.
No.
We're in awe of those stories.
Those guys are unicorns, one of one.
They're absolutely unicorns, and we love hearing those stories. But sometimes stories from the average dudes are for other average dudes. It's fun to hear those things because you can almost imagine what it would be like to have that experience. And so that's with those stories. Those are some of the things that I'm just trying to roll out there. And I oftentimes don't realize that certain things would be interesting. They're funny. A lot of times I'm just laughing at myself. But, it was a good place to kind of roll those things out, man.
Yeah. So everyone check that out. The Fish Tank podcast. Check it out on Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, and everywhere else you get your podcast.
Yeah, we're trying to get into this YouTube thing. We kind of ignored it for
same here.
Just ignored it, but
I got into it later than some of the others. Yeah. And I will say, with this software we're on right now, it makes it so much easier because it's just literally a click of a button and you're on YouTube Live.
I connected to Savak today, Juice, so I'm going to let those guys talk tech.
I'm going to help you guys out.
Okay.
I'm going to share all my wisdom and knowledge from doing this for many years and work with him to get you guys up and run, have some nice fancy graphics like we got, little stuff like that, and just show them how this works, how you can connect to other platforms to air at multiple places on the same time. Yeah. It's not hard. It's just a lot of stuff, which if you don't know, you don't know type of stuff. So yes, I'll be working with him to help you guys out in any way, shape, and form.
We appreciate it.
My man.
All right, let's start here talking about this upcoming season we got coming. Rookies are there now, training camp in about a week, and then another week after that, they're probably already in pads, and that's when we really find out what's going on. First question is for someone I want to ask OJ, because you played, we've heard all off season about how the Miami Dolphins have to fixing the culture, this, that, and the other. Some guys who they thought weren't great for the culture are no longer here. We've heard a ton of stories. They're out there playing paintball together. They're out there going out for meals together, which they haven't done in years past. We even heard a story. I think the offensive line went out and did Pilates together. My question is this. As a former player, how important is culture and is it real? Because the teams that win, we never hear them talk about culture. It seems like the teams that lose sometimes use that as a crutch or an excuse to be like, look, I know we didn't win, but we're building a culture. How important is it? What is it, in your opinion, as someone who played?
Yeah, Mike, it really is important to have the right dudes in the locker room, but not only the right dudes in the locker room, but the right guys leading the locker room. You know what I mean? That's critical. It's not the guys that make the most money. It's not the guys with the biggest names sometimes, but the guys that are always in there doing things the right way and don't give a damn about what anybody else has to say because they know how a locker room is supposed to be. The guys are supposed to run the locker room, but you got to have the guys run it the right way. There's certain things that have to happen within an organization that the coaches and the owners and all that can control, but there's a lot of things that the players can control. And that locker room is sacred, man. It really is. So if you got guys in there that are the quote-unquote leaders that aren't leading in the right way, then the culture's going to suck. It really is. But if you got guys in there that are willing, like my dumb ass, willing to challenge dudes that don't do things the right way, that are supposed to be our leaders, that's what has to happen sometimes. And I don't think there's people willing to, to challenge some of the leaders that aren't leading the right way. So I don't care if you're like my fullback, my long snapper, my punter, whatever it might be. If you're a guy doing things the right way, I want those guys leading the team. I know they don't get as much clout, as much, publicity as others, but we need the right guys leading the team. So culture is very important. And honestly, I know that Coach McDaniel wanted to let the guys, run things a little bit. You just got to make sure you got the right guys running things. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think someone like Alec Ingold, who I would think might be someone who could see being
already
in
a
that
captain.
type of role. Already
Yeah.
a captain. He seems like someone when he talks, people would listen to.
Yeah.
And there are some other guys like that on the team. I think Chubb, him.
Well, you know what? When it comes to Chubb, I'm sure he's a great
Oh, I think we got
leader, but
lost
when
OJ
nobody
for-
wants to me, Mike, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I back?
Seth. Yeah, you're back, OJ. You're back. Seth, what do you think about that and the whole thing here regarding culture and some of the leaders on the team? Obviously, we've lost some guys like Armstead and Campbell who were here last year, who I think were very much respected on that team. Who's going to step up, you think? I know it's tough as an outsider. We're not there. But like I said, someone like an Alec Ingold, Zach, I think can be one too. I think everyone respects Zach Sealer as well. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it would be hard for me to identify who would be the guys to step up. But I think it's, to Juice's point, it's got to be the right guys have to be the guys that set the culture. Because every team has a culture. Some cultures are just polluted, and so it's just, and that's determined by which guys have the most impact on that culture. And, to Juice's point, the head coach has to create the environment for the right guys to thrive. And then those guys, they emerge, but sometimes the wrong guys emerge. And I think we unfortunately saw some of that the last few years, but there are a lot of high character guys in this locker room. And also understand culture doesn't just mean the guys who are members of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and members of, culture is not just that. Culture are guys that will do anything it takes to win. Culture are guys that, that show up early, leave late. Even if those guys are doing things in their private time that you wouldn't let your daughters date them or whatever it might be, it doesn't mean that they can't be the right culture guys for your football team in terms of winning games. But when the best players or most talented players are unfortunately setting kind of the wrong culture, maybe they're bitching about what decisions are being made by the organization. Maybe they're not showing up on time, which we heard was clearly an issue. And it had to be guys that I don't think it would have been talked about if it wasn't either a lot of guys or it was guys that were high profile guys that were not showing up on time or missing practice or whatever that might be. And those things can't happen, right? That is not conducive to a winning culture. And so, but the other thing I'll say, and I had a couple of guys who were very well respected in the history of this team, including one who I do a podcast with, is culture isn't established by talking about it publicly.
You're right.
Giving this to these players, they're being asked the question, and it's a conversation that's been had, and probably because it permeates through the media, both locally and nationally. But that culture won't be set because guys talked about it in an interview. Culture is set by actions and then ultimately by results.
Yeah, you're right. Because I think it was Chubb who said last year, we were kind of lying when we told you that we were trying to change. So words are cheap. It's all about actions. And if we see the changes, and, for us who aren't there in the locker room, we're not going to know per se, but you watch the games and you have a very good idea, win or lose, even in a loss, if those guys are out there leaving it all on the field, and you can tell by watching the games, then we know, okay, something changed maybe to where we didn't see this type of effort last year, week in and week out. And it is noticeable, even if the wins sometimes aren't there, I guess. Let's talk about this offensive line. Every year, I always feel like we're talking about the dang offensive line. And got some new faces this year. Armstead retired. That's a blow. That's a hit. He's very good. Patrick Paul, in a little bit of time he got last year, I thought he was okay. And I got a lot of positive thoughts for him this year. I think he's going to be okay. But we don't really know either. Then we signed the guy from Pittsburgh here, James Daniel, coming off a major injury. Big question mark there. Jonas Avenea, he's still not signed. Not his fault. Sounds like there's a shift here. If you get picked in round
Major shift.
2,
There's
it
what,
sounds like a
two
shift's
guys
coming.
that-
If you get picked in round 2, you're going to get your contract guaranteed, which God bless those guys. What are your thoughts on this new look offensive line? And did Miami do enough to address things?
I think they made decisions they needed to make. I absolutely do. I think they had, I love the center. I love Aaron Brewer.
Aaron Brewer's good. He's good.
He's a stud.
He's a keeper. Yep.
Perfect fit for for this offense. And he also, you're talking about a culture guy. That's a bad dude. That's a guy who's out there to play hard and fast and physical and go listen to him in any interviews, and not because he's talking about it, but just the things that he says, the things that are important to him. I think that guy's wired the right way. Anybody who's like, oh, I know you said it's a blow that Armstead retired. I think anybody who anticipated that Teron Armstead was going to.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely.
And to the Miami Dolphins' credit, which I know a lot of people don't like to do, particularly when they're talking about the general manager, and this is something that I lobbied for at last year's draft party, as Juice knows, they drafted a young left tackle. And they gave him a year to learn and get on the field experience. He learned from Teron Armstead. He got to play because he knew he was going to get to play. And I think he's a promising young player. I'm excited to see what Patrick Paul can do in a full-time role. And everything you hear about that kid. He's clearly a very smart kid. He's got all the physical gifts in the world.
Mountain of a man.
It matters to him. He's working hard. He's training hard. And so I'm excited to see what happens there. A healthy Austin Jackson should not be, and we probably haven't talked enough about that. When you hear everyone's talking about the offensive line, let's go back and look at what happened to the Miami Dolphins offense as soon as Austin Jackson was out of the lineup.
Right.
It went, that run game went in the
running
tank.
game died. Yeah.
He's a critical component there. So I think that's all very exciting. You draft a guy high in Savai Naya, and everything you hear about him fits the mold of the type of player fans want to be there at the guard position. They upgraded both guard positions, which is all anybody wanted. So I don't know what else people wanted them to do. Go get Richmond, Dwight Stevenson, and you know what I mean? Like, what did people want them to do? I think there's an opportunity for this offensive line to really grow by leaps and bounds.
What do you think, OJ?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree. I mean, you go back to what we saw from Patrick Paul. We sat there, watching the game, especially when we were on the road, and me, Seth, and Travis were, in the room together, and just watching him do some special things at such a young age, man. And that's really, really important to have a young guy. Teron gave us all he could give us, and the most important thing he gave us was 1 year with Patrick Paul. I'm gonna tell you that. I mean, that was really, really, really special. Having him, and Teron. Hear the interviews now, and now he couldn't. He couldn't be ready to play until Sunday because of all the pain he was going through from head to toe. But he also had that brain working for us, and I think Patrick Paul is going to be special from that. The biggest thing, I think Seth said it best. How maligned was Austin Jackson for the first couple years here? And then how special was he, and how much was he missed when we lost him? You know what I mean? That says a lot. Aaron Brewer's a home run. 2 nasty guards that we have. And hopefully this year with Coach McDaniel, a commitment to let these dudes maul. Run downhill some. Let these dudes go to work. And take the pressure off of Tua. So yeah, I'm happy with the offensive line. Of course, you always need backup. Liam's always going to be around because he plays all 5 positions. Everybody bitches and moans about him, but the dude's he's available every single weekend. And then you got some other guys that are going to be fighting it out, man. There's a bunch of guys in camp. We'll see who the nasty ones are, ones that we can count on. But our front 5, I'm cool with them right now.
Yeah, I think I saw it with Austin Jackson, when he was in the lineup for the first 7 or 8 games last year, they were top 10 in rushing. Once he left, they fell to 28th or something. It was some drastic fall off a cliff.
Crazy. It's crazy.
And you can just point to one person really, and it was him. Because even last year, Armstead played the majority of the games last year. He was out there every week for almost
played a lot more than I anticipated.
Played a lot more than anyone thought he would. It was really Austin Jackson that was the guy. When he wasn't out there, it was just like a house of cards that crumbled essentially. Tua, we've had every year. I feel like I have you guys on.
This thing, and it's the first
I know.
Tua.
I'm going to ask this question a totally different way, though. Because everyone
Any way you
has.
want. I'm just shocked.
Is this
we
a
haven't
make
talked
or
about
break year for Tua? I feel like we have a conversation every year. It's always a make or break. Here's what I want to ask the question. We know he has to stay healthy. We know he has to be available each week. That goes without saying. Nothing to discuss. My question is, he's going into year 6. In your opinion, have we seen the best of him, or do you think he can raise his game even more, or have we seen him reach his ceiling? It is year 6 now, so we have a large enough sample size of him, and when he's out there, he's great. He's great. I mean, yes, there's still things to work on, obviously, but he's great for the most part. When he's not out there, that's the problem, because when he's not out there, this team is dead on arrival most Sundays. What are your thoughts on Tua? Has he reached his peak?
Mike, you ever play spades? Have you ever played the game spades?
Not in many, many years.
So in spades, you play with a partner, right? And you're not allowed to, they call it talking across the board. You're not allowed to tell your partner what you have, because that's the whole point of the game, is being able to play your hand and your partner play into your hand. And so every time a question like this pops up and Juice and I are in the Zoom, we're kind of looking at each other and we can't talk across the board, but we're like, who's going to take this question first? So I guess I'll take it. I think Juice is leading me and he wants me to throw, he wants me to lead with spades. So I'll take this question. I hope we haven't seen the best of Tua. So that's, have we seen the best of Tua? I hope not. You mentioned the health piece. Listen, if there is, and injuries happen, it's the sport of football. Josh Allen, who might be Superman, breaks fingers. These things happen. If there is, and knock on wood or whatever, what we don't want to see is a head injury, right?
Yeah.
Because that becomes an entirely different conversation. If there's an injury of another form, and I don't want to see any injury, I would love to see Tua play 17 games, but into the playoffs, obviously. But so we'll just put the health thing aside, even though you really can't.
You really can't, because that's the story.
Full season, his entire career. Now, when he does have, when you get a full season of Tua, you get a really good football player, right? I mean, that was a Pro Bowl player. He led the league in passing. Was that his ceiling? I hope not. I'd like to believe that he could grow, and that is a position, as much as any position in the sport, that the more reps, the more film, the more years, the more knowledge, you have an opportunity to get better, where everybody else's skills diminish the older they get. And especially a guy like Tua, where Tua's superpower isn't the rocket arm or the speed and agility that you get with, Lamar Jackson. Tua's mind and his ability to get that ball out and to get it exactly where it needs to be and those are things, and Juice said this years ago, those are things he can carry with him if he's able to stretch this thing out and play 15, 16, 17 years the way a lot of the great quarterbacks do. Those things will stay with him, which is an exciting thing for anybody who's a Tua fan. And so my hope is that as time goes on, that he will only continue to get better, and most importantly, get better in the biggest moments of games, because that's the next level for Tua. Is when we get to crunch time.
Yep.
Who does Tua Tagovailoa become? And if he takes the next step there, then the Dolphins have an opportunity to do something they haven't done in a long, long time.
Seth, that's all that matters right there. That is the point right there. All I care about is what are you doing in crunch? What are you doing in the fourth quarter?
Yep.
What are you doing when the game's on the line? Yeah, okay, it's nice when you got a nice lead. That's one thing. What do you got to do when you got to go down and get 2 scores? You know what I mean? And the bottom line is you have, we all got to have, of course we have to have the trust as fans, but your teammates have to believe you can go down there and get it done.
Yeah.
Tua has to prove that over and over and over again, not just a couple times, over and over and over again, that he can go down there and get it done. And I think he can. He's got enough weapons, enough talent to really focus in and hone in on that closing time, that closing moment. And that's critical. I talk about it all the time. I see some quarterbacks, some greats that throw 2 or 3 interceptions in the first half, maybe, but when it came to that fourth quarter, man, I forgot all about some of those interceptions. You know what I mean? And that's all that matters. Only thing that matters is how do you close games out? When you have an opportunity to go down there and win a game, when you have opportunity to go down there and tie a game up, or whatever it might be, do you get it done? And of course, you're not going to hit 1,000% on that. You're not going to be 100% on that. But at the same time, though, I want to know that the majority of the time, I knew the majority of the time I got in the huddle with Dan Marino, we're down. we got a damn good chance of going down and winning a football game. And I think that Tua can get there. He's got the weapons to do it. He's got the mind to do it. He just has to go out there and do it.
I was going to say, your quarterback had some games miserable in the first half, OJ.
Oh, yeah.
Quarter, need a drive. Here comes Dan. You knew he was going to – you knew you were getting points on that final drive.
Absolutely.
So, now, look, he's a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest ever. Not everyone's like that, we know. But that's what you need from your quarterback. I always say, from a starting quarterback, there's 1 or 2 times a year when everything's not going right and everything's falling apart, you need him to say, guys, I got this one.
Yeah.
Just 1 or 2 times a year. And I think we need to see that from him more. But I think for the most part, when he plays, he's good. I mean, that's the thing with Tua. When he plays, he's good.
Yeah.
It's just, slide, throw it away if nothing's there, and get out of bounds. Avoid the hits. If he can just follow those 3 things, I think we're going to be fine.
But Mike, we've had some games where he's been really good, but he didn't close. You know what I mean? He's got some great numbers. You look at the end of the day, the numbers look great, but closing, I don't care. He could throw for 200 yards, but the last drive is 75 of them. You know what I mean? Close. I want a closer. That's what I really need mostly for my quarterback,
Everyone talks about that Titans game in 2023, which just hurt us on Monday night. And, so-and-so got hurt, so-and-so got hurt. He had a chance to get a first down in the fourth quarter and the game. He didn't get it. They score. Now he's just got to get him in field goal range to kick a field goal to win the game. He didn't do it. Those are the moments you're talking about, OJ. Late in the game. You can make all the excuses in that game you want. He had 2 chances to end that game. Came up short. Those moments, Houston last year, where that game was a little bit of a mess. He had a chance late to make a drive or 2. Those are the moments he has to step up in, but just play. Got to be out there week in and week out.
I agree. Now, I will say that Houston game, I think Tyreek needs to take some of the heat for that game as well, the way that one wrapped up.
Yeah.
I think both of them were responsible there. Yeah. And he's right. The Baltimore game will forever be remembered.
Oh, yeah.
That was one. The Tennessee game was a disaster. The Dallas game, there was the close. So we've seen it. We just haven't seen enough of it.
Consistently.
Yeah. And there have been moments, the Kansas City game in Germany, there were moments where Tua had an opportunity to really be the hero, and we didn't see it. And so that, to me, as we just said, that's kind of the next step. Can he get there? I sure hope so. They need him to.
They need him to. Every team needs their quarterback to step up. Anthony Weaver last year did a fantastic job running the defense. I mean, just outstanding on all levels. This year, got some new faces. Secondary, I think, is still a work in progress. It's still only mid-July. They have time. Let's see how this looks come September before we all jump off the bridge here with the secondary. Minka's back, and I find that so interesting in so many ways because I know the same people aren't here from when he wanted out the first time and all that stuff. Minka's back in the secondary. Chubb's back. Jalen's back. Your Penn State guy, Chop Robinson, was fantastic last year. Expect him to make another leap. What are your thoughts overall on that side of the ball? Obviously, everyone's worried about the secondary. Let's put that aside. The rest of it looks really, really good and promising. And I think Grant out of Michigan is going to surprise too.
Yeah, I think a front 7 like we have going right now is going to be pretty impressive, man. It's great to get. And we can go back to the beginning of what we talked about in the show. With Chubb and Phillips being back, those are culture guys too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And like I said, guys that are hurt, it's hard for them to be able to impact the locker room the way you want guys to impact the locker room when you're in the tub. It's tough on those guys. But now you get those guys back on the field. That's critical right there. Those guys were in Chop's ear all last year, and look what Chop did the second half of the season. Now we've got those monsters. You talk about Grant. We talk about Sealer. Our linebacker play, I thought, got better as the year went along. You talk about bringing Minka back. A lot of times when you've got guys up front that are that good or that can be that talented, it can help a secondary out that's not as talented. If Chubb or Phillips or Chop Robinson get a clean look or a clean blitz, a corner can get beat sometimes. It happens all the time. We don't want it to happen all the time, but it does happen when a quarterback does not have time to get the ball down the field. So I think that, Anthony Weaver, what he did last year, I just expect him to grow with this thing. And then you get some of the dogs that you expected to be out there back out there. It's going to be very, very important. And I think we better get the most out of Anthony Weaver this year because they have a successful year. We might not have
he
him next
gone.
year.
That's
You
right.
know what I
Gone.
mean?
That's
So
Yeah, he's gonna
I'm
get a job.
excited to see what he does with the group he has. I know Mink is a lead. You talking about a dog? Mink is a dog, and Mink is a leader. He shows it on the field and all. You know what I mean? In early, out late. He's one of those kind of workers, man. So hopefully that translates to the secondary, and I hope the secondary guys that are coming back, the Storm Ducks, the Caters, all those guys that are coming back, they listen to a guy like that, and I think they can be a successful part of what we have going on the team.
1,000%, as OJ McCarthy
1,000%.
Yeah. And the Minka piece is interesting, and I probably was more critical of him than the team, when that trade took place after
Me too.
the season. But you're talking about a guy. I know there's been a lot of talk of, especially of what's come out of Pittsburgh, and he's not the same player that he was 3 or 4 years ago when he was a perennial All-Pro. But that, number one, they're making that determination after the last 2 seasons, and I understand that. But he's a 28-year-old guy. This is not a guy who's in his 30s. This is not Jordan Poyer in his 12th season or what have you. And so I think this is probably the best safety that they've added to the roster since they drafted Minkah Fitzpatrick, quite frankly.
Yes.
I really do. And on top of that, this is not a free agent signing where a guy gets paid a bunch of money to come in and be a culture guy or whatever it is. This was a trade, and a guy who's now seen his play criticized, and he's a proud player. And to Juice's point, he's been a dog throughout his career. You got a motivated player who probably wants to come out and show that he's still the player that he was 2 or 3 years ago. So I'm very excited about Minkah being added to that secondary. But I also agree with Juice. Somebody texted me, or maybe it was a text that we're on, and they're like, what's the plan at corner? And I'm like, the plan at corner is Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips and Chop Robinson. That's the plan at corner. Is get that ball out quicker or don't get it out at all. And it's why I pounded the table for Chop to be drafted. If the quarterback is the most valuable player on the field, in my opinion, the most important position in all of sports, then the second most important position, and I'm sorry, Juice, I know you want 11 wide receivers on offense.
I know.
The second most important position to me is the guy who can knock the quarterback down. And so put pressure on those guys. It doesn't mean that you can put any stiff out there at corner.
No.
And I think Kader Kohou's only going to continue to become a better player here. They like Storm Duck. Might I remind you guys that was my prediction a year ago on this show?
It was. Yep.
for the undrafted rookie free agent that would stand out, and they seem to really like him. They seem to believe in him. A lot of people expected Ethan Bonner to get playtime last year, couldn't get on the field over Storm Duck. They like Storm Duck, so maybe that's the guy they're going to go with. It'll be interesting to see what they do there, but they continue to upgrade the linebacker position. I mean, you look at that linebacker room compared to what it was 2 years ago. It's an impressive group. I'm talking about the inside, not just the edge guys.
Gay,
so,
those guys are really good. Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys that probably have a chip on their shoulder.
Absolutely.
A lot of guys that are probably sick of hearing what are they going to do without Jalen Ramsey, or that they're not going to be good enough. So I think you're going to. I love when my football team has a chip on its shoulder, and I think this one does.
Yeah. And the name that we haven't said, really, second-round pick, Cam Smith needs to perform. Or he needs to at least give more than we've gotten in years 1 and 2 to at least be a rotational piece on some level.
But what if he doesn't, Mike? If you're saying
if he doesn't, it does. I mean, look, some guys
doesn't?
are busts. Some guys are busts, though. And that just happens in this league.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. I don't think the season depends upon whether or not Cam Smith takes
no.
If it does, then they're in trouble.
Yes, they need him to at least be a rotational piece. He doesn't have to start even. Just be someone they can throw out there and have some sort of confidence in for 10 plays a game, even if that's all it is.
That would be great.
It's a second-round pick, and you don't want to just punt on that so quickly. Right. But, I know he's been hurt, but now he's on his, 10 at first. Everyone blamed Vic. Vic didn't like him. Vic with this. Vic's gone. Same issues last year.
He's also shining his Super Bowl ring right now.
He's also shining his Super Bowl ring. I know. But Cam Smith is someone, in camp, he's going to be someone under the microscope from local media, from fans and stuff, because, second round pick, you want to get something out of them. We'll see. But I still think they're going to make a move for a corner. I don't think it's going to be some of the names that have already been mentioned. I think they're going to wait to the end of camp see who some other teams are cutting, who might be on a trade block. I think that's when they're going to add someone. So I think fans need to just, relax. It's only July, and it might just be the first part of August. Let's see what they do come September.
And Mike, the corner position too is really honestly a position people can come off the streets and play.
You're right. You can find guys. You can find guys.
You can come in there, tell me, tell me the coverage, tell me some of the adjustments, and they're good to go. You know what I mean?
Your point, Juice, is that they don't have to learn the playbook. Is that your point?
Well, they do somewhat, but no, they don't have to learn the playbook.
But that's
you got that guy. You got that guy, Seth, and you guard him, okay?
Right. That's what I just wanted to clarify.
Yep. All right. So that's our preview of the Dolphins' upcoming season. OJ, anytime I get you on, I always like to talk about Penn State. Penn State's pretty good last year. Made a run in the playoffs. Almost got to a championship game even. They made a pretty good run. You're returning 14 to 22 starters. Got a Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback. Both of the running backs are back. If this is a bad year for Penn State, are you and the boys going to be calling for the head of James Franklin up there? This is his year.
Nope.
This is his
year. Nope, I would not. See, it depends now. If we get back to the Final Four, Mike, then I'll be okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
But I expect us to get to the championship game this year. I really do. You're right, though, man. We come back loaded on offense. You say the quarterback's a Heisman Trophy candidate, but so is Nick Singleton, our running back. Katron Allen is a big old running back. It's going to be great at the next level, too, man. Of course, we lose to Tyler Warren, but we got some other tight ends that are just special. So I think this team is, and we went out and bought some wide receivers this year.
Yeah, you took my guy from Syracuse. David Pena. That's okay.
Hey, we opened the bag up this year, Mike. We had to, bro. You know what I mean? We opened the bag up. But I think that you're right, though.
Have you looked at their schedule?
I have. Of course I have.
Joe Paterno, he's smiling right now. Nevada, FIU, Villanova at home. 3-0.
You got you got to play a non-conference schedule at some point, right?
I know, but
we played 9 conference games where the SEC only plays 8 conference games.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
We played 9 conference games, and our conference is no joke.
It's no joke what your schedule kind of is. After those 3, you'll get Oregon at home. That's a tough game. Oregon's a real team. Then UCLA on the road, they stink. Northwestern at home, they stink. Iowa, they don't score any points.
It's the Big Ten. We can't help it who stinks and who doesn't stink.
Outside of Oregon and Ohio State, and you don't have to play Michigan, you got a lot of Rutgers, Nebraska's on there, Iowa's, Northwesterns. It's a favorable schedule. I know, look, you play who they put on your schedule, I know, but the out-of-conference schedule, this is their year, though. That's my point. This is set up for them this year. A lot of pressure, OJ.
A lot of pressure, and I know Coach is feeling it too, man. And the worst thing about us, I see some of these preseason polls, and we're like 1, 2, or 3. I think in some of them, that's the worst thing that could happen to us right there. You know what I mean? I'd rather us be sitting at 5 and then work our way up. So every single week you get everybody's best. No matter what. Don't think that FIU and Nevada or Villanova are going to come out with every trick play in the world that they have going on, and I get it. We should be able to line up and beat those guys and get ready for Oregon, a whiteout game again in the best atmosphere in college football. And Happy Valley, there'll be at least 111,000 people at that game. Then we're going to go into Ohio State around Halloween. And we're going to bust the Buckeyes up, in my home state. We're ready, man. We're ready to be. We're prone and ready. We're primed and ready to be at the top of the throne at the end of the season this year. I promise you that.
This is your year because Ohio State's got some questions at quarterback. Michigan's going through a lot of change. You guys brought back a lot of guys. Your schedule's very favorable. This is Penn State's year. You better win this year.
This sounds like a setup. I don't know. This sounds like a setup.
Yeah, it is. It is, Big Seth. It's definitely a setup, man. But you know what, though? I know for a fact they have the best mentality when it comes to getting to 1-0 every game. 1-0. 1-0.
I like it.
All right. Here's a question, too. Have they passed the SEC, the Big Ten? Have they passed the SEC for the best conference in college football? Last 2 national champions from the Big Ten.
You know what? We're top heavy all the time, man. I can never say we're better than the SEC because there's a gauntlet that you just talked about it, man. Look, the gauntlet those guys have to go through is way different than what we have to go through. There are some bottom teams that aren't as tough. So I would never say that But I'm gonna tell you this, man.
Oh, well, I think I lost Juice.
We're on the something.
Oh, Juice is breaking up.
We're losing you, Juice.
You're losing you, Juice.
And it's a shame because you're pumping up the SEC, and I'm losing you.
Who do you root for, Seth, in college?
Oh, somebody was calling me probably. Is that what it was?
Oh,
it could be.
All
Seth,
right. Sorry, Mike, I hate to mess up your pod, man.
No,
sorry,
you're fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
But anyhow,
yeah. Seth,
we're still Big Ten is the best.
Big Ten's the best. There you go. Seth, who's your team?
Well, so I'm a Gator. I'm a Gator,
okay.
But I get paid by the defensive line coach at the University of Miami.
That's right. Okay.
So I'm rooting for the U as well.
Oh, you got a rough week 1 this year because aren't they playing each other this year, week 1?
Yeah, you know, listen, I've thought about this a lot. I told this to Juice. He wasn't accepting it, but I've been a Gator for, since I went to school there. I got that degree. But what have they done for me since I left? Other than win some national championships. I got to remember where my bread is buttered, man. So,
yeah, I know. I understand. Okay. One thing we'd like to talk about a lot in this podcast, football, it's only July. We're waiting for it to start. It'll be here soon enough. What are we watching on TV these days? Are you guys big guys who watch stuff on like Netflix, Paramount Plus, Hulu? What shows are you guys watching?
Mike.
Well, hold on. Seth, okay. First, let me start with you, OJ. Last year this time, we spoke about the soap operas. People still asking about the soap opera thing. All right, did you start watching the new CBS soap opera?
Are you really going to do this
Beyond the Gate?
No, it's a new one?
It started in February, yeah.
All right, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to find it.
Check it out.
I'm going to find it. On this show, Juice, to talk to you about soaps.
Yeah. Okay. Put soap operas aside. What are you guys watching on TV when you're not thinking about football, thinking about sports, long day at work, you go home to unwind? What do you got? What type of shows are you guys watching?
Well, Mike, I'll start this one off, Big Seth. I just got killed for my love of Love Island, bro. I watched the finale on Sunday, man, and I was not happy a few days before that because, my man Ace got eliminated, from the show. But Love Island had me all summer long, bro.
Hey, nothing to be ashamed of. I watch a few. I don't watch that one. I'm not going to say that, but I do watch Big Brother. Love Big Brother on CBS. I am all in on Big Brother. Just started last week. Just from the first couple episodes, they found a great cast of wackos to put in this house this year. It's going to be great TV because you need people who are just a little bit off. And every year, God bless CBS, they found it. That one I'm watching. And then some of the other shows I've watched of late, Landman. I don't know if you guys watched that one on. That's a great show.
Billy
also
Bob.
On Yep. Also on Netflix, The Waterfront. It just came out not too long. It's kind of like Landman.
Yes.
Yes.
See,
me and OJ, we vibe on TV. We got the same habit. It might be the habits of a 29-year-old female, but we watch the same type of TV shows.
Mike, the only problem with me though, Mike, is I've got to watch every episode like multiple times. So I fall asleep, man.
Yeah.
I try to watch it at 9 o'clock. Yeah, exactly.
Seth, what are you watching?
I'll go through movies on Netflix, and my wife, I'll be like, hey, this looks pretty good. And then I'll select it, and it'll say, do you want to pick up where you left off? And it's like 37 minutes in. I have no recollection. I haven't pressed play on that thing in the past. So my guilty pleasure, as much as I get on you guys about the soaps, my guilty pleasure are all these reality singing competition shows.
Okay.
The Voice and American Idol and America's Got Talent, and there was a whole thing last night about America's Got Talent that I think is a little controversial, but that's a whole other conversation. So that's my guilty pleasure. But I just watched. Have you guys seen that movie Nobody on Netflix?
No.
Check out the movie Nobody. It caught me off guard. It's I don't even know the guy's name. What's the guy here? I'll pull it up here. Is it Bob Odenkirk? Is that the name?
Bob Odenkirk. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he's the star. And he plays this like mild-mannered guy that just lives the boring life.
I did see this movie.
And it turns out that he is secretly one of the baddest dudes on the planet. And it is really well done. Some of these action movies anymore, you just feel like you're I'm not a John Wick guy. I just feel like it's a video game where people just walk through and kill everybody. This has some of that same energy, but the performances were great. There's a storyline in it. So I really enjoyed that film. So I'll watch a silly movie here and there. I can't keep up with you guys on TV right now. It's not on my. I'm editing too many podcasts.
Exactly.
Right.
Trust me, that's a full-time job right there. Trust me, I know. A lot of podcasts, a lot of interviews, trying to line up guys, make sure they're going to show up to guys. There's a lot of work right there. But yes, guys, thank you so much. And folks, check out the Fish Tank wherever you listen to your podcast, and on YouTube real soon with some live shows possibly coming up as well. Phase 4. We'll get you set up on YouTube and get you streaming across multiple platforms.
We're on YouTube, but we're not live streaming yet.
We're going to get you live streaming. Yeah, that's what we're going to get. We're going to set you up, get you going there. And we'll see what the Dolphins do this year. Hopefully, I think right now they're flying under everyone's radar. A lot of people are overlooking them, but like we've fallen for this in years past. I think that's what you want, almost fly under the radar. Don't talk about us and let's surprise some people. And if we don't, we'll cross that bridge at that point. Right. But I think there's a chance for them to surprise people. First month or so, nice schedule, I think. Favorable. It gets harder later, but at least to come out of the gate, it looks like a favorable schedule, which you never really know, but it looks favorable, at least on paper. So hopefully to get off to a quick start. And, yeah, we'll see how this year's goes. Guys.
We shall see. Hey, Mike, before you shut us off here.
Yeah.
Typically, we celebrate your birthday on this show and we pull out the cake and the whole thing. I know we're a week late on that. So we want to wish you a happy belated birthday. We're sorry you couldn't participate in the show. I wanted to say that. I also wanted to say you guys have been killing it. Marissa is on an absolute tear like I've never seen. I mean, it's like must-see TV every time. I can't wait to see who your next guest is. So congrats to you guys for just in a slow time having an unbelievable list of guests. Hopefully we can kind of, Juice and I have been able to maintain that run for you. And then finally, the same way you started the show, just much love to Big E. We'll be thinking
Big E, man. Yes, sir. Big E.
Yeah. I know it's a little odd to be on with you guys without him here, but we're thinking about him. Totally understandable why he's not here. He's got much more important things to be thinking about right now, but we're pulling for him, and everyone is, and we're all hoping for the best here with him. It's so funny with these interviews here. Last thing. So last Friday, I interviewed Craig Carton. Friday morning it was. And I dropped it Sunday night. Fine. Didn't think nothing of it. On Monday, they canceled the guy's show. I'm like, I felt awful.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, wow. We said, check out Craig
All right, Mike, we got to go.
Hey, Mike, I'm running some interference here, Big Seth. I can't hear. I'm going through a tunnel.
I'm not okay. I didn't think about that. All right.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Everyone, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again after a while.
All right, boys. Take care.